Alright, I got it open. You can use a fork or a spoon to scrape out the seeds. So now the butternut squash has been cleaned out fully, and what you want to do is put them face down on a baking pan and pour some low sodium vegetable broth over the bottom of the pan, and this will steam them in the oven at 400 degrees for this size about 30 minutes. If it's a larger butternut squash, it'll take closer to an hour. Make sure that pan is well covered so that it's gonna steam the inside of them. And this will act as a little shell, and we'll show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. So this is the butternut squash that just came out of the oven, and literally just scooping out a little bit of the inner flesh. We're gonna add that to the pot with the wild rice and the sauté of vegetables, and this will create a cavity for the vegetables to sit in. So we are doing the butternut squash, which was roasted or baked in the oven on a baking sheet containing vegetable broth, and have a wild rice vegetable medley filling, and this is a sauté of vegetable broth with red onions, a little teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1.5 teaspoons of dried rosemary. It's boiled and the onion is translucent, meaning most of the red color is gone from it. So now we're going to just add some other vegetables, some carrots, and we have some multicolored carrots here. A little bell pepper. It's nice to have all your ingredients chopped so you just can put them in. So have everything set to go before you actually start cooking and make everything a lot easier. And then some broccoli florets as well. And just stir those and make sure they're all coated. If the liquid is kind of running low, so we can add a little more vegetable broth. And make sure there's enough liquid in the pan, because we're going to be, plenty of liquid is fine, we're going to be adding the wild rice to it. This is just low sodium vegetable broth. And just cover that to steam everything in the sauté pan. You can also add cauliflower florets, a little salt and pepper to taste, just a lot of different colors. Every color of the vegetable, each different color has different nutrients and different antioxidants. So vegetables now about 3 minutes covered on the sauté pan. They're developing a nice color and a little bit of softness. You don't want them mushy. We're now going to add some of that reserved butternut squash flesh to the pan to add a little bit of bulk and creaminess to the filling. Just stir that around, it'll absorb up the liquid. And then we're going to add the cooked wild rice. This took about 30 minutes to cook. It's going to absorb up that butternut squash. You can add a little bit at a time, depending on how big your pan is. Just going to absorb up all that liquid, and the butternut squash flesh that you're putting in here will make it nice and creamy. Give it a nice texture without adding any cream or butter. Just using the vegetable to make a nice filling inside the squash. So here we have a sweet potato that's loaded up with the wild rice medley on the left, and a butternut squash that is filled with the wild rice medley on the right. You can put top pine nuts on these. You can put some balsamic vinegar, whatever you want to add a little extra flavor if you would like. Salt and pepper to taste as well, but these are 2 ways to use a wild rice medley on top of sweet potatoes or butternut squash. You can be as creative as your imagination will allow you to be. You can do black beans, you can do corn. The vegetable possibilities are absolutely endless, but if you do whatever base you're using, whether it's wild rice, quinoa, or black beans, and you put a little bit of the either sweet potato or butternut squash stuffing in that topping, it really leads to a cohesiveness and fullness and creaminess of the dish without having to add extra cream or butter. Butternut squash is called butternut squash because the squash flesh is so tender, it tastes like butter. So hopefully this gives you some ideas to eat a really great healthy meal that's very quick and easy